Okay, this is a summer tour of our chicken pen with pig pens inside. The chickens go in the pig pens and they dig through the pig poo and they eat the fly larvae. It really helps with fly control. Henceforth, I'm standing here, I don't have a fly on me, so that's been pretty cool. All right, so let's go to the point. Pigs need water constantly, mud constantly, and shade within shade. So we have their shaded houses with insulated roofs that have breezy windows, and above those we have a shade cloth. So they need both, because just being inside this will give them some shade, but it will still radiate heat. So you kind of need, kind of like standing under a big breezy tree feels so much better than inside of a locked up, non-breezy house or building. So breeze, shade within shade is awesome. So along here we have all these mulberries that are growing. Some have even produced a little bit of fruit, but as you can see, they're still under 6 feet tall, so they're not offering a lot of shade yet. Someday they will. So until then, you have to have other means of shade. Now the chickens hop over the fence. We have these wooden pieces on top of the fence, so hog panels, so the chickens can jump over, and they go in there and they dig through the pig manure looking for digested seeds and bugs. And so lots of pig water. Sometimes it looks pretty gross because that's pigs for you. It does get drained often. Plenty of water. And then in this house is already in the sun, so they don't really hang out in that. They come over here and they hang out in the shaded area. Smart. So pan around here. I have a shaded area where I have some pineapple guava because the other trees are not big enough to shade it. And then I planted some pumpkins and other things around the trees, kind of like little mini permacultures. Grass, wheat, a lot has already been used. This is August 31st, July 31st, sorry. And a lot of it has already been picked and used. So got a young tree there. And then on the side of the road one day, this we found, and it used to belong to my goat, but it works great for shade, shelter for the chickens. I just put water under there, keep the ground moist, turn it with my shovel so they always have breezy, cool soil when it's really hot, not like today where it's getting ready to rain. Here's another summer tip, this is a kitty litter box with another smaller one that will fit in it with an air gap. And this water is cold. It's been in the sun all day today, but because it's insulated like that, it stays cold. I keep fences around my trees or the chickens will dig down to the roots. And so you have to protect the roots of your trees. Chickens are brutal that way. So more mulberries. This came from a cutting. That came from a cutting a long time ago. Apple tree and apricot and pear and peach. And anyway, this area here is a compost area where I turn it every few days. The hay from inside the chicken coop goes in there. All the green food I give them, and scratch and seeds germinate, and when I turn it, there's little sprouts growing in there and the chickens just love it. So this is a chicken coop. You know, if I had to do it over again, I would say don't put a metal roofing in the desert because it can get hot. And also placement is important. We are going to cut breeze windows on both sides to add more ventilation. It does have some, but not as much as I would like. And I have netting, metal cattle fencing here, 4 things to grow up over, but most of them haven't done what I've wanted them to do. So here's some black-eyed peas, squash, pumpkin plants. So try to utilize everything that we can eat and that the animals can eat. I use deep bedding in here. These are my baby girls. And when this gets dirty, I pull it out, put it in the compost pile there where the chickens are digging, and put in some new straw. So this mulberry is my tallest one, which is why it's here. It's going to offer shade to the chicken coop eventually. But like I said, until then, you have to offer shade under shade. It can't just be a box with, you know, one little layer of shade. It needs to be breezy shade so that they don't sit there and die of heat exhaustion. And very important, if you're not comfortable sitting in that breezy area or anti-breezy area, then your chickens won't be. And it's all about taking care of them. Their needs before our needs, because they can't get out and take care of themselves. On Junior Rooster, aren't you handsome boy? Okay, so here's another one of our pens, another example of shade within shade. So they have their little house, but they have shade cloth over their house so that they have protection from the sun. Otherwise, it'll just be like a little oven in there or a sauna. And they have lots of mud and water. Seems like the more mud and water they have, the happier they are. So they have, this is my boar and my pregnant mama. So they get to hang out together until about a week before she has her babies. And one more chicken pen here. This is my broody house. This has got a roof on it, cover, so hawks and owls can't get in here. And it's got an actual little coop. It's got a breezeway underneath the coop. And then it has another area that's covered. And it has a tree in here. So there is always shade within shade in here for the mama and the babies. And then the junior babies. And most of all, for Squeaky, my little banty rooster, which is the foster daddy. He helps raise all the babies. And here's a tip. The mama doesn't share, or she likes to dig out the food. So I put this fencing around the coop where she can reach in and grab some of the food, but she can't get in there and dig it and send it flying everywhere. So that was kind of a cool idea that just popped in my head. So my boy pen, this is my boy baby pigs, which at 3 months are already able to breed, so I have to separate them. They are in what used to be the outdoor part of my rabbit tree. And since I no longer raise rabbits, what better place for young pigs than in here? So these are the two boys I have. And then they get to have their very own two little junior roosters, because flies were getting crazy, and when you add a couple chickens to the pig pen, the chickens really help with fly control. Come on, boys. Wanna say hi? Okay, my last pen is actually attached to our literal food forest, which is actually, a lot of it's already been harvested. I've been harvesting a lot for the animals. They have a very large mulberry growing in here for shade, but you have to protect the roots. This is my rooster grout pen. So these are junior roosters. If you have too many roosters with your hens, it's just very stressful for the hens. And so here is another little tip. You can put like a grass mat underneath there, and as the grass grows up through, the chickens eat it. But if you leave it open, they'll scratch it and kill it. And so this way, they just step on it, and their weight brings the grass through. So these are our two wooden houses, which are a much better design. They actually have a little bit of air space in between each one, and that allows a breeze to go through. And again, I use rain gutters, and in each pen there's perches. I have 2 of them, and every night all my chickens get locked up. So this is where the roosters go, And I have shade cloth on top of their shade again, so that when they're in their house, they have more shade. So it's all about shade and water and comfort in the desert. And then, like I said, in the wintertime, we take all the shade cloth down. That way it lasts longer. Boys.